So this is Coach Renz. I apologize for being about 10 minutes late. For those who are watching this on the replay, it's not late for you. So today we're going to give a little bit of time for people to log in, to get on. I want to try something here on this TikTok one. I don't know if it'll actually work, but we're about to find out. I don't see where I can do it. Of course, the phone has to start ringing. I wanted to figure out how I can do grids on this TikTok thing, but I don't see how you do grids on this thing where other people can come in. All I know is I have to invite people. So I don't see how to do grids. It's supposed to be like live together, but I don't even know where live together is. Wait. Nope. Post live with others. I see where you can invite people. No. I figured it out. Well, that says live together. Settings. Panel. Cancel. Boom. I actually figured something out. I see you have to actually get into the live in order to do it. So that's cool. So we might get some people who may be interested in the conversation on to the TikTok when I'm gonna figure out YouTube. I'm gonna figure out the other one. How you doing, Denise X? So the topic today, you can read the title. We're gonna be talking today. So Friday. Now, normally I'm going to do this on Wednesday, but I had an appointment on Wednesday, so I couldn't do it Wednesday. But on Wednesdays on this channel, we're going to be doing a live concerning relationships. Today's conversation concerning a relationship is a topic that I've seen a lot of interest in. A lot of people want to talk about it. So we're going to be talking about two different subject matters. The first subject matter we're going to talk about is, and if we have time, we'll go into the second one. We got 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes or so. We're going to talk about passport bros. And then if we have time, we're going to also talk about polygamy. Oh, hell, we can talk about both of them at the same time. Doesn't matter. But Friday, today we're talking about relationships. YouTube, we're not talking about spiritual stuff. So we're not doing that. But unless it pertains to relationship. Then on this show, we're going to do Wednesday shows. Are going to be about relationships every Wednesday. This is the Art of Tantric Love. If you're on Facebook and on TikTok, this is the Art of Tantric Love. My YouTube, the Art of Tantric Love YouTube page does not have enough followers on it yet, so I can't just do those on those channels. But here we are. So if you want to support that YouTube channel, start subscribing to it. I will start moving videos over into that channel as well, private videos that'll only be on that one for YouTube. And then as we build and grow that one, then all the lives will be on that channel, but we're not there yet. So the Art of Tantric Love. Just so you have an idea, I know that when you go and you watch a lot of people lives, what you can consistently hear people say or do or talk about is, it's all negative. It's all fighting. It's all men against women, especially in the Black community. It's men against women, men against women, men against women, because we've been conditioned to do so. But today, and on this channel, when we talk about relationships, we want to be fair. Some things aren't positive. Some things aren't negative. But we're going to be fair. And that's one of the hallmarks that I hope that I bring to the table, that I look forward to bringing to the table, is a fairness. In all subjects and all situations. That's why my page on TikTok and Facebook, the Facebook group, is called the Art of Tantric Love, because Tantra is really about a unity. Well, I ain't gonna say really, but part of Tantra is a unity of people. The unity of the male and the female, the masculine and the feminine. So as we talk about passport bros, we're going to look at it from the standpoint of why is it that it's predominantly men who are doing it, and why women will struggle at being a passport lady. That is a more difficult challenge for women to do, which is probably why you see when other conversations about this is going on, the women are pissed off. The women are pissed when the passport bros start leaving. Now, if you don't know what a passport bro is, oh, and Denise just happened to ask that question. Now, people think that this is new. People talk about it like it's new, but passport bros is not new. I'm 51 years old. I spent 8.5 years in the Marine Corps. Passport bros was something that was going on back in the 90s before there was this big internet explosion and people got a chance to be in everybody's business. So a passport bro, Denise, is a man, particularly in this scenario, a black man, a black American, who is fed up with what they call the fight that they have with American black women, and they get a passport, they go to another country where they go and find a more feminine, a more submissive woman over there, and they marry her. Or they're just going and just having that boys trip to where they can just grab up these women and have a good time. You know, it used to be the boys trip kind of deal, but now these guys are going over and they're marrying marrying women in these foreign countries instead of being with, a native black woman in America. And most of the time it's because they are tired of the fighting that they have to do with an American woman. The Western mentality has pushed them beyond the brink of them wanting to remain in that relationship. I mean, to continue to try, I should say. And there is some validity to it based on whatever your experiences are. But then it also begs the question, why are they doing it? Is it that bad? Are they not finding women who can be a partner instead of being, a combatant? Papa Soul said his nephew goes to the Philippines to do the same exact thing. Yeah. Right now, like 15, 20 years ago, Brazil was the spot for black men in America, especially across the South, because it was easier to get there. Brazil was the spot. It was brothers was going to Brazil, boys trip, just hitting Brazil like it ain't no thing. Now it's the DR. The DR is the spot, right? When I was in the Marine Corps and I was in Germany, going to Turkey was one of the spots. Going to Latvia, if you was black or brown, going to Latvia, Riga, Latvia was a spot that many people didn't know about in Riga, Latvia. Especially if you was interested in them tall, big Norwegian looking women. And when I say big, I just mean tall. So I shouldn't say big and tall. It's like saying the same thing twice. But that was the spot where you knew you can go there and you just getting women was easy. They didn't give you a whole bunch of fighting. A lot of guys I knew who was going to Riga, they wind up getting out the military and living in Riga. It's cold as hell up there, so I don't know how they did it, but they moved to Riga, Latvia, because the women in Riga were totally different than the women, even the women that they was dealing with in Germany, and definitely different than the women in America. So they fell in love with that, and they stayed there. Right now, there's some classmates of mine. And I went to the DR, found them a lady and married her, and they still in the DR. They ain't leaving. They're not leaving. So what's really going on here? Is it so bad in having a relationship with a black American woman that these men feel like they need to roll out and go to another country to find another woman? What's the dynamic that's at play? And the other conversation that we're going to have, so we can go both ways, we can talk about all of it, is we're going to talk about polygamy as well. And we got two subjects on the board. We're also talking about polygamy as well as the passport bros. Is it okay? Is it not okay? Regardless of the law, regardless of culture, what does it do to the family structure? Is it a benefit? Is it not a benefit? Financially, it could be a gold mine of a benefit. But what's the real purpose of it? And how does it affect, our community when people are engaging in this practice? And what's the history of it? And if you're interested in it, how to do it so that you can do it right? Because I see some people getting involved in polygamy, but they're doing it so wrong. Their intentions are wrong. So those are the two subject matters at hand. And I definitely want to hear you guys' opinions on the subject matters, what you think. I don't just want to be the only talking head up here. If you got a question, you got a statement, let's go ahead and get them ready, get them started. But so, passport bro, there's a part of me that doesn't, like, the whole of me don't care about the passport bro thing. If you can't find the type of woman that you desire in your native country, I don't see a problem with you going to find what you desire in another country. My biggest issue is when you try to degrade the woman in your country. You're degrading women. That part, when you say, well, you categories like all black women in America are doing this and doing that, or fighting and all this kind of thing. Yeah, that part I'm not cool with, But I want somebody on TikTok to see. I put this little grid thing up here. I don't know how it works though. Do I have to invite somebody, or do they just pop themselves on? Or they requested. But it's like you get to choose. Oh yeah, allow request here. Got it. You can choose whether you not want what people should be able to choose who they want to be with and the type of woman they want to be with. But one thing that I never hear anybody really talking about is women going to do it themselves. I think it's very difficult for a woman to go and be a passport lady. Passport lady is going to be difficult because that lady is definitely not she's not looking for the same type man, But let me throw a little caveat in there. There are black women who think that the black man is trash, that he doesn't have enough ambition, that he's crying and whining about the government. He ain't making enough money. He broke. So why don't I just skip on over to Benin? Why don't I just skip on over to Dubai, or skip away? You don't want that Dubai, but let me skip on over to England or France or Australia or India or somewhere else, and I'm gonna find me a husband over there. But I think when they get there, they don't find that the men there are looking for the type of I'm a boss kind of lady when they get there. Because you got to really think about the mentality of a woman that's going to get a passport just to go over to another country, either to play or to, and most women aren't going over there to play, but going over there and you're looking for a husband, right? You go over there and you want to be a passport lady and you want to get a husband. That type of man that you're looking for who's over there is still not going to want to deal with a woman who is trying to run him. Black men here in America saying they want a traditional woman. Hell, what do you think you're going to find when you get to, Sierra Leone? You get to Ghana, you're going to find the same thing. So it kind of puts women in a jacked up situation where, so I understand why they're angry about it, why they're frustrated, why they're mad about that whole situation. But I really want to hear from you guys. What do you think about it? What do you think about it? What do you think about men going over and finding them a wife in another country? Them leaving the Black American woman to go find a wife in another country? Do you look down on a man who goes over and looks for a wife in another country? Do you curse him? Do you find him to be negative? Is that something, you think is a detriment to the community? All those sorts of things. Like, what are your thought process on that? And I know some passport bros, actually, I just thought about this. I know some of these passport bros, they go over to some of these other countries just so that they can practice polygamy, because they want, they want 2 wives, they want 3 wives, and they're not looking for some of the Western culture mindset when it comes to having multiple wives. So, because the Western culture mindset of having multiple wives is, if you are going to, we're going to have separate houses. You're defeating the financial benefit of polygamy when you have separate houses. He got to be able to pay for all the houses and all the needs and requirements, that the financial needs and requirements of it. You're still not conceptualizing the economics of polygamy when you do that. In truth, when you're dealing with polygamy, everybody works to a certain degree. Everybody contributes. Back in the day when we were agrarian, the guy who's a polygamist, it's not like the women were just sitting at home eating bonbons and shit. They weren't doing that. They were out there tending to the animals, tending to the crops. They were participating in what made the house go. So this Western mindset, we're not agrarian, but there still needs, you can still have it where there's at least 2 checks coming into the household. And if you budget it correctly, nobody is wanting for money, begging for money, asking for money. You're building a financial foothold, a financial foundation that can, proliferate wealth for generations. Papa said, as a man, the right woman is right in front of you. We really don't want what we need. And that goes for women as well. We're very superficial. We are superficial. Men don't want women to change. Whatever they met you in, whatever like physical body they met you in, that's the physical body we want you to stay in. Whatever levels of sexuality you had when we met you, we don't want that to decrease. We want that to stay the same, if not increase. However you took care of us when we first started dating, that's what we want you to maintain. We don't want you to change. Oftentimes, women want men to change. We want them to become more supportive, more emotional, more financially upward. If there was some behavior that he had when he first met him, they want that to change. And we oftentimes just look at that beginning thing. A woman says, I want a man who makes 6 figures or is a good provider. All right. Do you ever think about when he's not providing? If that's the cornerstone of it, what happens when he loses his job or his business goes down? What happens when she gains weight? Or she ain't looking as good? We start then finding other things to be upset with that person about. And then the relationship just begins to tarry to the left. All of a sudden everything is going downhill. We often will negate the true intangibles of a person instead of saying that, what, it's a good woman. She takes care of me. She cooks, she cleans, she's not gaining a little weight or she's not got a little skinny, because it can go both ways depending upon the dude or what you like or what you don't like. We have some problems. Both of y'all working on it, but then she, if one of y'all stop working on it, then it's like, I'm out of here. And I will say, if you're not working on it and some time has passed and you're still not working on it, yeah, somebody needs to be out of there. And don't take that statement to mean that, stay there forever. But we often don't really look at the true core personality of a person, the true core heart of a person, and then see the beauty from the inward out. We often go outward in, whether it's physical beauty or it's financial, how much money they make. We always don't. Right. And Papa said conditions. Now, we all do have conditions. Because every woman that walks through my door don't qualify. Sorry, don't. I have to find you attractive. A woman can be too small for me. A woman can be too big for me. A woman can make a bunch of money but be broke because she doesn't know how to manage her finances. A woman cannot make that much money, but she's financially astute and she's handling her business. You know, I'm not dealing with the one who makes six figures but she's broke. I'd rather deal with the one who makes, half of what that one makes, or even less than half of what that one makes, but she's managing her money quite well, because then I know I can trust her with mine, because I'm not going to pay bills. I'm here you go. Here's the budget. Here's the money. You go pay everything. I'm finna handle business, and you just pay for everything, because I don't like paying bills. You know, we have conditions. How you treat me. Are you argumentative? You want to argue all the time, and that's like how you live your life, where it's always arguing. I can't do that. I got conditions. We all do. I'm 51 right now. Roll up on me, and you got some junior high kids and below. Hell, now even at 51, if that joke ain't at least in 11th grade, maybe slide on the 10th grade, since we halfway through the school year. You don't qualify. No, my youngest is grown in the Air Force. I ain't dealing with them little kids. When it comes to relationships, the cursory understanding of humans need psychology. Human needs psychology is extremely helpful. That being said, anyone that goes overseas finds a partner. If it makes you happy, go for it. Kenneth Norris. I agree 100%. I'm tell you, because I have the intentions of moving out of America, probably to Puerto Rico in the next 2 years, then probably after 3 years after that, moving to Africa. My brother and some of my family members were very keen. Sorry, I messed up one of my eyelashes the other day. Was impressing upon me, man. Just wait. Just wait till you get over to Africa, or wait till you get to Puerto Rico, and then get your wife. Because stop asking women as your second question. Do you have to keep living in America? Because I'm leaving. Because marriage won't keep me in America. Love won't keep me in America. I can meet you today, fall in love with you, and be like, oh, but she's so great. She's so great. She's so great. And then she's like, oh, but I don't want to leave America. I'm like, well, you know what? Guess what? I got to go. Because that's one of my conditions. I got to go. I got to leave. So I don't have a problem with people going overseas to find them a mate. If that's what you want, then go get it. If you can't find it in your area or however you want to do it, go get it. Yes, I agree. Once a woman passes my initial physical attraction, I will begin to look for other qualities. Most can't ignore the physical attraction. Right. Yeah, I gotta have the attraction first, and then let me get to know you. Let me take you through my question and answers. Which one of my questions and answers to any woman is, do you have to live in America? Because if you got to live in America, then you're not for me. I got to, So now, that doesn't mean I'm about to go and get me a passport woman now. I wouldn't go do that now. But many guys, they want that woman now. Eddie Murphy told y'all, if you my age or close enough, Eddie Murphy told y'all, you go over there and get umfunfu, you better stay over there with umfunfu. One of the guys I know, he's in the DR, got a wife. They've been there for like 8 years or so. And he's talking about bringing her back to America. I told him, I said, bro, you're messing up. Don't bring her back to America. You need to leave her over there. Y'all need to stay over there. Bring her to America. Either use her passport to get here, or America gonna mess that woman up. You bring that lady to America, all of a sudden she get Americanized. She may not be the sweet, loving, take care of you kind of woman that you had while you was in the DR. You get her in America, she get Americanized. All of a sudden, she talking about some half Eddie. I want half. If you like probably younger than 40, you probably don't get that, but I've seen quite a few people like these guys, for a lot of the white guys that when I'm on my popcorn shop was up in Alpharetta, I saw a lot of the white guys going to Belize. They was going to Belize, get them a wife, going to Belize. And then they bring them back to Alpharetta, you know, Roswell, Milton area, high income area. And, you know, at first they get here and they chill, they good. They ain't spending that much money. They ain't going to do a bunch of things. You know, they just, I'm home taking care of my man, taking care of the kids. You know, they doing what that dude was looking for. You know, I'm sexing him up. I'm cooking for him. You know, I got him. That's what they was doing. But then after they done been here for a minute, they started to turn into American women. You know, they don't want to do that now. They don't want to be that, what they found in Belize. So I saw a lot of these white guys who was doing the Belize thing. All of a sudden, things ain't working out for them the way they expected it to. You expected it. And it was funny because a lot of them was trying to get me at the time frame I was single. A lot of them was trying to get me to do that. Ooh, let me see if this will work on YouTube. Yeah, Charlie Brown, how you doing? I'm seeing if this thing will add you because I'm curious. I know she has very good tape on things. Just making sure. But yes, thank you, Denise. Please hit the like button. But if you, that's the thing though, is having, you know, a lot of women feel like these brothers who are going and they're getting women from these other countries that they're weak brothers, that they just can't handle the strong, independent black woman. And, you know, they call them simps, they call them all of these other kind of names and whatnot. I think a lot of it comes out of hurt feelings, but at the end of the day, are they simps? Are they weak because they can't deal with the current modern style black woman? You know, and that begs the question: what is a modern black woman? You know, in America, we have an interesting dynamic. We have an interesting dynamic where, from like after the '60s, the government really did a good job of separating the black family, of getting the black man out of the household and promoting the black woman. Women's liberation did a really good job of telling black women that, yeah, we got you, girl, we got you, girl. But then once they got what they wanted, they disenfranchised themselves from the black woman and left you holding the bag. And then the government plus that. And then, you know, it was all about getting black women into colleges, and black dudes weren't. Companies started having a quota laws from, I think, the Reagan era. And it was, you know, hey, if I get a black woman, I'm satisfying 2 quotas with 1 person. I got a minority and I got a woman. So the upward mobility of black women increased dramatically through the 80s and 90s. And a lot of brothers got left holding the bag. So, of course, nowadays, and then also you had, you know, the teachings from a lot of mothers saying that, girl, you got to get your own money. You got to have your own money because when he leave you, you know, I actually literally was married to a woman whose mother used to say that, you know, you got to make sure you got this because when he leave you, I'm like, damn, we've been married for a year and you telling her when I leave you, like, that's some bullshit. But, you know, you have all this stuff, these teachings and the government and politics and companies, you know, using quota laws. It really put a big divide between black men and black women financially. And because money is important, money is security to a certain extent, and women in general want security, want that financial security. You know, the lioness don't get with the biggest lion, the biggest male lion because he handsome. She with that dude because she wants that security. You know, if another lion takes over, he's gonna kill her babies and then start making his own pride. He wants his bloodline. So they want the big dude for security. I don't blame women for that. I don't blame women for wanting security. They should want security. But we live in a time frame where a lot of women can provide their own security. The only problem is some women don't understand the separation between you the boss at work, but you ain't the boss at home. You know, at work, you have your hierarchy. At home, you have your partnership. You have your partnership at home. But some of that is turned into, oh, I make six figures. He needs to make six figures. Or otherwise, he can't be the head of this household. And then there's those dudes who like, well, if she makes more money than me, they have some insecurities about that. And they act like, then they acting all punkish about it. And they sitting up there whining and trying to dominate her in different ways, whether it's physical or mental. And so they're messing up the situation. So Black relationships have been set up over time to be more difficult than they should be, simply because of finances and politics. So when these bros go out to look for the more docile, more traditional type woman, they're not looking for that fight. That doesn't make them weak. The weak one is the one that can't deal with a woman who makes more money than them. Please let my woman make more money than me. That just means that we're going to have a lot more to build with because of the way I run the budget. But a lot of men can't handle that. A lot of them can't handle it. And so they respond, they react to it. They don't respond at all, they react. And that reaction is usually negative. But on the same line, a lot of women, they can't deal with a man that makes less money than them. They can't respect a man that makes less money than them. And I can tell you, if a man don't feel respected, he gonna do something. He's gonna do something to mess up the relationship. He's gonna bring disharmony into the relationship if he doesn't feel respected. So we got that as a problem. And one of the most recent solutions for men have been to become a passport bro. Just go out there and I'm gonna find me, something on the side. Not find something. Well, some of them do go find something on the side, but then I'm gonna go find me a woman in one of these less developed countries who will be awed by, my 50K, my 60K, my 70K, my 80K, my 100K. They're gonna be in awe of that, and then she's going to take care of my house now. She's going to stay home and raise my kids now, that sort of thing. So how do we solve that? How do we solve that? It's not the easiest thing to do. It's not the easiest thing to do. There's no red pill, blue pill to be able to take to be able to make this thing work. Do we tell, basically, let me rephrase that. The answers are easy. The actual putting into practice is the most difficult thing. It comes down to recognizing who the true enemy is, who the true enemy of relationships are. The politics and the money. Politics and money is the true enemy of the relationship. This is why anytime that I'm with somebody and if we're gonna get married or long-term living together, whatever it is, there is no separation between this is your money, this is my money. Everything comes into one pot of money. Doesn't matter who makes the most money. We determine now the process of the budget. I already have laid out. This is how it's going to work. At the beginning of every month, you're going to get your stipend. I'm going to get my stipend. Put it in your account, put it in my account. Then 70% of what's left over goes into how we're going to live our life, our necessities. Then 10% is going to investment, 10% is going to savings, and 10% is going into our fund money. It's a basic, simple process. We determine our lifestyle based on that. All of it coming into one. Whether I'm the only one working or we both working, it doesn't matter. I don't care. That's how the money is going to run. And then me, because I don't like managing personal income, I care about my stipend account, and I just care about the investment account. The rest of it, hey lady, take care of this. I don't want to pay any bills. I don't want to grocery shop. I don't want to do none of that. You handle it. When it comes to the fun money, I'll be the one at the end of the month telling me, hey, baby, the Ant-Man movie coming out. We got enough money in that account to go to the movies. And if we don't, well, I got some money in my stipend account, take you out to the movies or whatever. But That's an easy solution because it takes money out of the equation. Even in the only time I've had an argument about finances in any relationship that I've ever been in is when she refused. She didn't want to do that. I let down my guard. I let down my standards one time. One time I let my standards down. We didn't run the finances the way that I have ran finances for almost my entire adult life. And because I didn't, we had arguments about finances. I'll be damned if I do that again. It's not gonna happen. But if people ran their finances that way, your relationship will work better. Because finances is not an issue anymore. It's not an issue. You want to stop some passport bros, ladies, and you make more money than him, run that financial program that I'm talking about, that I just described, and I guarantee y'all won't have any financial issues. He won't feel inadequate if he makes less, and you won't feel like you're begging for money if he makes more or if you're not working, because it's all unified and everybody has an equal portion. Even with some of the people in polygamy that I've counseled, I have set them up on that same financial program so that everybody, all three people, are not financially dependent on the other people in such a way that they got to ask or beg or borrow money from each other. They all are equal when it comes to the finances. And the best one who can run the finances is the one who runs the finances, who pays all the bills, who manages the majority of the accounts. And everybody has their own money to do whatever they want with that money. The only way balance can be restored is if the men and women individually recognize the planned agenda to let go of the material and superficial things. Exactly. And getting those finances in order is one of the ways. It's one of the ways. Right? It's one of the ways. And then we got to have real discussions on what roles we're going to play in a relationship. We really do. You got to have a real discussion with people. You got to be upfront. You got to be upfront. There's I meet a lot of these guys. I meet a lot of these guys who they meet women. They don't tell them up front exactly what they're looking for in a woman because they're afraid that she's going to say no. And then they wait till they get all emotionally involved, and then they want to try to change the game on her and tell her this or that. It's a gentleman that I talk to in this cigar lounge regularly. He mad because his wife won't cook for him. It's something that he wanted in the very beginning, about 20 years ago. But according to him, the way our situation was back then, because of her job and her travel, she couldn't, and she was in school, she couldn't cook. Okay, but you didn't express that in the beginning. You didn't let her know that was a requirement in the beginning. You should have let her know that was a requirement in the beginning. And now it's 20 years later and you're whining about it. You're creating issues about it. Nah, that's your fault. You should have said something in the beginning. We're not being upfront with each other in the beginning. And then also things change. We're not trying to be malleable to the changes that occur in a relationship. As long as that change that is not violating your 20% of things that you ain't gonna deal with, that you're not gonna put up with, then you need to make those adjustments. And we're not doing that. We want things to stay exactly how they are. We want what we want, not considering what the other person may want in a relationship, not considering the changes that happens with people over time. I can definitely say I'm not the same person today that I was 10 years ago. I'm definitely not the same person I was 20 years ago and 30 years ago. Like when I first got married at 19 and I'm 51 now, I am vastly different than that person, that young man. Very different. Although my budget program has existed since I was 21. I've been doing that since I was 21. Most of those things haven't changed. A lot of things have changed, sorry. But there are certain things that have not changed. My core of who I am has never changed. That's always been because environment, circumstances changes other parts of who you are. You know, hell, I didn't start smoking cigars till I was 23. So I started smoking cigars when I was 23. Well, I started smoking a pipe when I was 19, and then cigars when I was 23. You know, I'm not stopping because somebody wants me to stop. You know, somebody after we was together for almost 2 years gonna then tell me that this is a deal breaker. That's not gonna work. You should have said it was a deal breaker from day one. You know, hell, our second date was at a cigar lounge. Yeah, establish roles in relationship and family is important. Exactly, it's incredibly important. Janine said that you're all walking, breathing sin, making love, or have an attraction to something you are, especially when you're clearly equal, is no better than the other sex. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. You're all walking, breathing, sins. Why make love or have a or why make love or have an attraction to someone you are someone you are, especially when you clearly equal and no better than the other sex? Maybe my cognition is not working right, but I'm not getting the point there. Right? Because yeah, we're all I'm not saying in any form of fact that any one person is better than another person. Uh, we're all the same. Uh, we're all equal. I don't think anybody's better than another person. Okay, so
hi.
Hey, so
Can you see me?
I can see you, Charlie. So now everybody else can see you. So Charlie, we're on. I'm also on YouTube and I'm also on TikTok, but they can hear you.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I'm sorry. I was not prepared, and I'm just getting my day started. As you can see, I'm still moving around. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good. I'm trying to find somewhere to sit down. So earlier when you were talking about. Do you mind me delving right in?
No, because I'm gonna tell you something crazy in a little bit afterwards, though. But go ahead.
Okay, so you were talking about going over to another country,
yes,
and finding a woman over there, and the rules being different. Excuse me. Over there, and she being another type of woman, and I guess the rules and the way they live and operate would be different from the American woman. And I was wanting to weigh in on that point, understanding what you said to be true. I agree, because it's a cultural difference,
mm-hmm.
and because of that cultural difference, it's going to be different if from a woman in America, we have a little bit more liberty, right? In a lot of cases, anyway. And so therefore, it's going to be different. So I guess the point I was wanting to weigh in on was the idea of being the American woman. Like, is there a definition that is general for the American woman over other countries, do you think? And if so, what are those attributes that you think are solely American?
If I understand you correctly, so you're saying that in the perspective of other people in other countries, what they think an American woman is?
Yes.
Yes. So from my experience and and talking to a bunch of other people who are from other countries, they think that American women are spoiled and bossy, right? They think that American women don't know how to take care of their man. That y'all think that y'all are men in the way that y'all behave towards your man, and you're looking to dominate the man.
Oh, okay. I think there are definitely women who might fit that category, primarily because of the way they were raised, the social engineering that is going on that really wants to divide men and women, want to break up family, want to emasculate men. And so there's a whole lot going on. It's not just a woman comes out of the womb and decides, oh, I want to be a jerk that dominates men. I don't think that that's what's happening. I don't think that's their personality or desire. I think it is what happens is society, personal experiences in their life have shaped how they think. And then you have the men who've also been affected by things too. If you are a man who hasn't been taught how to do certain things and been raised to believe that a woman will cook for you, a woman will clean for you, you don't have to do anything but provide. If you've been taught that and then a woman comes along who doesn't know how to do those things, but she's attractive.
Right.
And you possibly already had sex with her. So you're connecting on other areas that have nothing to do with what you desire in an actual mate. Then you both undermine that connection. You both have issues that need to be addressed. In my mind, being a woman and all, I personally have absolutely no issue with cleaning, with attending to the needs of my man, whether it's sexually or, looking out for him in ways that, show that I love and care for him, cooking for him and stuff, and, making sure he's comfortable after a hard day's work, and that I'm looking, just in general, looking out for him and looking out for his money, not trying to, spend all the money and stuff, very frugal and aware of the importance of, looking out for him and his finances, all of it. So, and the odd thing about that, I was not trained to do that. That was just my innate, loving, nurturing nature and my compassion and sensitivity to humanity and those that I say I love. That is something I even do with my friends. I care about it. I have friends where if they need me and I'm available, I'll get up in the middle of the night and I'll go, attend to them if they're sick or something, or they're emotionally, struggling or something like that. So for me, I just automatically have that mentality. Where I take pause possibly is the idea of gender roles. I know to a degree, we have, it's okay to have those things. I mean, it's not that it's bad, but I think when it comes to two people wanting a relationship to work, the mentality should be, we're in this together.
Right.
I realize that you are going to need help with the kids sometimes, and you're going to need a break because you've worked too. Right. Then you cook, then you clean, and now the babies need attention. We need to share some things and have the mentality that we're in this together. So when it comes to a woman in another country, possibly, they are dominated. They don't have the freedom that the men have. There is a double standard. So she is going to be possibly a little bit more passive and denying herself for him. If she is sad, she doesn't get to say, honey, I just don't feel like having sex today, because she's a woman. She can't say she's not feeling well or she's not emotionally in the mood because they just got in a fight. She can't say that. She can't just decide, I'm so tired. I've been working all day. I don't feel like cooking today. Not every day. This is the attitude, but just today. So when you are a man living in that environment where no matter what is going on in her life emotionally, she's going to be doing things and attending to you like that. And not saying that this is always the case. There's balance. There's variables, obviously. But if you are a man who's used to that kind of attention, where everything's about you and how you feel and what you want, and then you get to America and the man and the woman is telling you, I've been cooking all month, it's your turn, or I don't feel like doing it today, I'm tired too. I had to watch Jesse and Tamika all day long while you watch a game with your friends. I'm tired, it's your turn. Now, I get that sometimes there's a lot lost in translation, and men are sometimes neglected by women who aren't adequate.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's actually happens more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
Is that these men are feeling neglected in the relationship, even if they are participating in, like, I mean, most people are doing a dual income household in America because they want a bigger house, they want the cars, they want all these material things, so they don't understand how to live off one income. But even those guys are being neglected by their spouse, because being a housewife, that's not an easy task. That's a lot of work.
And when you're actually working it, when you're really for real doing what you're supposed to do.
And I understand people do get tired. They have off days and things like that, but it's when it becomes consistent.
Sure.
And
I get that.
And I meet a lot of guys and women, and I listen to the women too. Like, I don't know if you know, but I opened a cigar lounge right next to the popcorn shop.
No, I was listening to you talk to your listeners or whatever, and I could see that you're in some sort of lounge, so that's pretty cool.
Yep, it's right down the street from you, but
from me, really?
Well, it's like 20 minutes, I think, if I remember where you live correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only about 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I placed an order. So, yeah, you do have some idea of my area. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll have to check that out. I mean, I don't smoke, but,
Yeah, I understand. But the thing is that I listen to, in this environment, I get to talk to a lot of different people. And, most of the women who come here, they work. I got about 30% of my customer base is women. They're career-driven women. And of course, they're working, he's working, and they're both working in the household, to take care of the house. But then when it comes to the intimacy part, it's like she's giving a lot of, I'm tired, I don't feel good, I had a hard day at work, because intimacy is not her way of de-stressing. Whereas for his method of de-stressing is intimacy, is to have sex. So he's been denied. And so I'm listening, and these guys are all saying this. A lot of them, I ain't gonna say all, a lot of them are saying this, that, I'm tired of hearing her talk about how tired she is. We both work. We both come home and we have duties at home. He may not be cooking, but he's out there, tending to the yard, tending to the cars, fixing this, fixing that. He's doing something. Now, granted, he has more leisure than her, because the house is not always broke down, but that part of the relationship has to happen. And a lot of these guys who go overseas, they know that part is not going to be an issue. And they generally, these guys who go overseas are fine on one income. They're not there. There's no need for two. So they're not looking for the career-driven woman either. They want the woman that's at home, whether they're babies or not. They're not looking for how much money you make. Like, I listen to a lot of shows, and when they ask a woman, like, well, tell me about yourself or something like that, or they just stating their case of their value. And one of the first things they throw out is their degrees or how much money they make. And we just, most men, we don't care how much money a woman makes. We can care less, because that's not an important thing to us. But it's that consistency. Now, most guys I know, they are helpful, in the house. They understand. And if it was once or twice, something like that, okay. If it's every now and then, okay. But when it's consistent, it's a problem. Like
Yeah,
you
I
know,
get
you
why
were a
that
problem
would
for
be
me a
a
couple
problem.
years ago, right?
Huh?
You know that you were a problem for me a couple of years ago.
I was what?
You were a problem. You were a problem.
I was a problem?
Yeah, because here's another aspect that causes men to go overseas. A lot of the insecurities that we find in American women, we don't find with women overseas. You know, a lot of the controlling of, I don't want you to go here, I don't want you to go there, I don't want this person to be your friend, I don't want that person to be your friend. You don't really get that with a lot of overseas women.
I've never acted like that, so I'm not familiar with that kind of shenanigans.
But see,
I'm really not.
The last person I was married to, the reason why you and I were not friends on Facebook for 2 years is because you were too pretty to be my friend on Facebook.
My Lord.
And she went on my phone. She went on my phone and deleted you. That's why I had to refriend you in 2020.
That's what happened?
That's exactly what happened.
Wow.
But
that breaks my heart. I mean, I'm so serious. That's a whole nother show. I mean, when you're ready to say something else, I really wanna talk about that, because that breaks my heart.
But see, the guys, no, we can talk about it. But like the guys who I know who are involved with other women from other countries, they don't deal with that. They just let him go be a man. Not saying that he's out here stepping outside the relationship, because you know she's taking care of everything. But who he interacts with doesn't become an issue. You know, who's on their Facebook page doesn't become an issue. You know, because they're less argumentative. They're not looking for something. And a lot of people, they're looking for stuff. They want to find something to be wrong when there's nothing wrong. Because I physically met you one time? No, twice. When I delivered popcorn, and then when we met at Kevin's event. That's it.
Yeah.
But nope.
That's it. No talking on the phone, long conversations, no inappropriate behavior, just
But that is another stigmatism that Black men have about American women, is the levels of insecurity.
Well, that is definitely a thing, and I've actually heard that before. But I want to be careful not to generalize on either area, because I've met some women from other countries, Africa in particular, who have the same kinds of insecurities. I think when it's happened over in other countries, though, it will, like when they come over here, they're free to express their disdain.
Yes.
Over there, they're trained, conditioned to have a certain demeanor and behavior about certain things. It doesn't mean they don't feel that stuff. When they come over here, it's not like they're going to a training camp and someone's teaching them, oh, over here, you know, you're to react this way when this or that happens. They're jealous in other countries. They're insecure in other countries, but they are trained and conditioned not to express those feelings. This idea that only in America are people jealous of other women, or men are not, you know, insecure, and they, you know, they're not catty like women and all kinds of stuff. These are human conditions.
Right.
These are socially engineered conditions in some cases, and these are things that happen when people have had experiences in their life that have shaped how they act to and how they respond to certain things. And so when a woman is in America and she acts out, we have TV shows that show that it's okay for you to act crazy and cuss a man out and be you know, checking him about everything and looking at his phone and all that kind of stuff. It's romanticized, glamorized, sensationalized. So you see this stuff on TV and you're young and impressionable in a lot of cases. You think that this is normal behavior, or you're just acting out of your own frustration and insecurities. But a man, if he uses his masculinity and his power correctly, he can put her in a place of security. And I'm not saying every single woman, because women who have a very low sense of themselves, even as a woman, and trying to be a friend to a woman who's broken is difficult, because she assumes that because I take a good selfie, that life is awesome for me, and that I don't have any issues or problems, or I don't have any, you know, times when I feel a little insecure in life and don't like the way my life is going. And they can't even be a friend to me and accept that I really find them beautiful and fun and interesting to be with and hang out with and all of that. So I understand. I'm trying to solidify what you're saying. It is a real thing. And it's not just in romantic relationships. It's even in friendships.
Right.
Women don't trust other women. I don't have that sickness. That disease has never been my problem. I'm a people pleaser. I love everybody. I want everybody to kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya. That's me. So I don't have that issue of, oh, you can't talk to my man because you look cute. When I would walk with my husband somewhere, you know, I could see a woman trying to get his attention. And because I know that men and women are going to be attracted to each other sometimes, or find each other attractive. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or not. If you see someone that looks attractive, you might, you know, take a second look. That's going to be normal, whether you're a man or a woman, right?
No, I agree. And I think something you said, and then I want you to answer a question that Denise X had asked.
That who asked?
On YouTube, Denise had asked on YouTube. But before I tell you what her question was, the thing about it, you're right. Women in other places in their cultural. Now there are going to be some that buck culture no matter what, but they're often taught not to display that insecure behavior as far as when their man is. They have people on Facebook that look like you, right? It's a good thing though, because the biggest problem about insecurity is how we respond to insecurities. Everybody has insecurities. I have some insecurities myself. As enlightened as I think I am, I still have insecurities about certain things. And
Absolutely.
But it's how I respond to them. You know, now if I reacted, that's different, because the reaction is get rid of it, do this, start an argument and all this other BS. But I try to respond to it by saying, okay, is it me or is it them? Is it an outside person who's trying to interfere and trying to mess up what we got? You know, I try not to try not to react to it, and try to really go inside and think about, am I just being insecure about a situation that's not real? You know, like the situation with you, that was a situation that wasn't real. And when I recognized that you had been deleted off my Facebook, I literally went and said, why'd you delete? Well, first, why'd you go through my phone? Second, why'd you delete this person? And when she told me that you were too pretty for me to have as a friend on Facebook, I expressed, I met her once at an event, delivered popcorn to her. We've never spoken on the phone, you know, or anything of the sort. She's happily married. I even went as far as, and don't get mad at me, even went as far as say, I've seen her husband. I don't make enough money to take care of that woman. So no, what are you talking about? And no matter what I said, I'm not, don't get the idea that she's like, oh, prissy, don't spend all the money. People don't think that. But, you know, my point was I went to great lengths to try to reassure her that
Right.
you are worried about you just started a 3-day argument over the wrong thing, which is creating tension within our relationship. And you know, I told her, I said that would be like me being upset at one of the parents who comes to your center, and he's a handsome man and he's always smiling and helpful to you around the place. Should I be insecure about that? Should I tell you that no, his child can't come there anymore? I said, but that's business, and he's just a nice guy, you know. And the question is, do I trust you? Not so much. And I said, yeah, I can have that insecurity, but it's not wise for me to have it because that creates tension within our relationship. Now, I do want you, Denise asked the question a little while ago. She said, why do American women think that other women are being dominated in other countries?
Oh, okay. Because some of the women that I've talked to who are from the Congo and other parts of Africa, who are actual friends, who I actually talk to, have dinner at their homes, say that that's what's going on. It's a real thing. Doesn't mean that that's every single one. That's the thing. I don't generalize. I'm speaking of certain populations in certain regions. This is an issue. It really is. So, and I think I said earlier, if I'm not mistaken, that this is not just an American thing. Perhaps it is, you know, as far as men being dominating, but at the same time, there is a culture. Like, you know, women can't speak. They can't be uncovered in a lot of cases, in some regions and stuff like that. And the man has all control and all say in what goes on with the finances and anything else within the household. The woman's job is simply to be sex ready, have the house clean, take care of the children, and to cook. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no going out getting an education and getting a job and all that kind of stuff. And so I would say that, you know, yes, definitely that is not the case in every region. That's common sense. That doesn't even have to be said. But it's definitely a thing. And so my point is, if a man from America is wanting to go to another country to experience a more docile woman, you can actually find that here. That is not something that you can't find. You just have to know how to discern and find a woman who doesn't have a whole lot of ambition, is very insecure, doesn't have a lot of confidence, and typically they'll be the kind of person who just wants to please their man and don't want anything for themselves. Women who want to please, who can do it all, who can please their man, who often will often be able to do that because they're well taken care of by a man who actually loves them and adores them and takes care of them. When you have that energy and that nuance going on in a relationship, it is easy for a woman who is emotionally stable to feel fine attending to him in a way that makes him feel wonderful and special. You know, a man who understands that he has work to do as well in terms of being emotionally accessible, being attentive and caring, listening, being sacrificial and willing to do for her like he expects to be done for her. It's easy for a woman, especially of my caliber, to say, oh, like, hell yeah, you know, anything you need, dear, you know, I have you. So I think sometimes men and women alike have to do more vetting than they're willing to do. Sometimes you're so physically attracted to a person that you don't take the time to vet a person and to see what they are in the core of who they are. Mm-hmm. So you dive in because you're attracted to this person, and then you're like, oh my God, I never asked you this, that, or the other. There's a whole list of questions and experiences that you need to have before delving in and committing your life to another person. So when people just go out here and get involved physically with people that they don't even know, and marry these people that they don't even know, and commit to these people that they haven't had any history with beyond sex, and going out to eat, and having some pleasant conversation, then, you know, why would you expect to have a perfectly crafted relationship without any knowledge of who you're dealing with?
Well, it would be difficult to do that. I don't disagree with that. Now, there are some points you made that I agree with. Some of them I disagree with. I agree. Depending upon what country you're talking about, you're going to have a different cultural norm. So, for instance, when I went to Saudi Arabia, the women, they have no way of, you know, they don't, at the time frame that I went, they couldn't, a lot of them couldn't go to school. They had to dress a certain way. They had to be a certain way. But then I go over to Dubai, and actually I liked Dubai before they built all that stuff. The women were more free. They were freer. When I went to the Ivory Coast, the women were freer to do whatever they wanted to do. But when I went to Chad, the women weren't as free to do what they wanted to do. So it was different. But I as far as, see, you equated like growth of a woman with her ambition to have a job or work or something like that, or go to school. One of my best friends, her ambition is to be a great wife and mother. And she gets ridiculed by women who says that she's not being enough of a woman. And she's an American woman.
That's me.
Right?
I mean, I'm a homemaker, and I raised my kids are grown now, but I didn't have a fancy job. When I did work, I didn't do some, I didn't have a career, I should say. And I most of my kids' life, I was at home. I was a homemaker. So I'm so sorry. I think what I was trying to convey, and forgive me, you heard right, but the intention, I think, was missed, or the what I really meant was and that's my fault. I was just saying there are women who are ambitious, and what I mean by ambitious, I mean the American definition of ambitious is ambition is being career driven,
right?
Making a lot of money. And that doesn't mean that that's all there is. My desire all my life was to become a wife and mother. And I've been told that by my husband, I'm really good at that, and my kids also agree. And no, I'm serious. They've said I'm good at that because I've done a good job. And because that was my ambition. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be the kind of wife and mother that my family could be proud of. So, but the American definition of success is that you go to school, get a career, and buy a bunch of stuff you don't need.
True.
And a woman typically feels slighted because in her mind, if she has to be at home like me, and this is the point, and this is something that I can say that is a con to this lifestyle. Whenever I would need something, if I wasn't generating money from my photography or doing hair or other hustles that I had, then I would have to ask my husband for money. And and he always gave it to me whenever he had it. If there was something that I want that was out of his range right now, he'd say, "Hold on, we need a little time for that." And I say, "Oh, okay," and that would be fine. But most times, I could get whatever I wanted. But for a person who is free and free thinking and wants to be able to just do whatever she wants without asking someone
right
money, it can be difficult sometimes because I'm used to having my own money, before I got married, doing my own thing. And so, and I have a desire to do my own thing, to make money. And that's why even with my creative pursuits, I make my own money and then I chart my own course. So I'm just saying that ambition, it means different things to different people, but the way America is set up, ambition is usually about going to school, getting a fancy job, and buying a bunch of stuff.
It does. But I think that's one of the things that's attractive to the passport bros is that if you look at the majority of countries that they identify as where they want to go, it's the countries where the culture creates the ambition for a woman to be the housewife and mother. Not so much like they're not passport broing over to England or France or Spain or South Africa, or to like India. No, they're going to Thailand, they're going to Brazil, they're going to, Ghana, Tanzania. They're going to places where they know that the culture is such that the women are raised to a desire to be a housewife, where that is a thing that they should aspire to do because that's what they want. Because the American, top tier woman is the woman who's making some money, and I hear some jokers in here talking about, I don't want a woman that's ain't got no money, but they don't want that. They're wanting somebody to take care of them and take care of the house, and somebody that, and people don't realize the flip of that. These are actually guys who want to take care of somebody without having a bunch of conflict, without having to argue and fight and fuss, because hell, I'm one of those guys. I refuse to be with a woman that I got to argue with over how we function on a day-to-day basis, and I want to be taken care of, and I'm going to take care of her. Now you got them.
You want to take care of her, and she takes care of you. This is the thing. It's not a woman or man thing. It's really not. It's a hurt people thing. Unhealed people out here mixing with the healed people, infiltrating real relationship and connection when they're not healed yet, when they have all these hang-ups and baggage and issues and trauma. When you get out here with people and who are healed, and you have insecurities, you don't trust men, you know that you don't trust women, you know that you have a certain way that you are used to things being. You saw your mom and dad do it this way, you want it that way too. And You're getting with people who have another version of what you've experienced that is totally different from you. And you two people are trying to get together and magically make everything work out. That is not life. That's not reality. The reality is, if you're not going to vet each other, if you're not going to get under the underbelly of what a person has been through in their life, their hurt, their pain, if you don't want to hear her sad story of how her father beat her mother and how she's never seen a man really love on a woman before in her life, if you don't want to hear that sad story, don't get mad at her when that shit shows up in the relationship. If you are a woman who thinks a man is a punk because he has some emotional trauma that he's had to deal with, that he still it hasn't healed from, and you have been trained by society that men shouldn't cry, they shouldn't whine or talk about their hurt and their pain and stuff. If you believe that, and you get with a man who's still dealing with the trauma of some man trying to rape them when they were a little kid, or they're losing their mama early in life, or whatever. Any number of things can happen to people in their young lives and stuff that show up in their adult history. If you can't handle those differences, you're going to constantly have conflict. What we're dealing with here in the world is not that men are like this and women are like that. What we're dealing with is individuals who have unresolved pain getting into relationship with people who either are healed or think they're healed, or two sick people. And when I say sick, I don't mean to be insensitive. I just mean two people who have some stuff that they don't feel comfortable dealing with.
No, they sick. No, they sick. They're sick. They're emotionally sick.
Yeah, they're emotionally sick then, and they need what you can't give them, what you're not equipped to give them, or they're not even equipped to take. So I think really what what we're facing is just, do we have the capacity to help the hurting? Do we have the patience to work with them? And if we are not on that level where we can do that, where we don't know how to help them with that, then that's why it's important that we vet them. Because it's really not just about cultural differences. It's more about, do you have the capacity to deal with a person whose history you don't really know yet?
And that is people got mad. What was it, the Kennedy guy who his wife had cancer and he divorced her? Then he married another woman, then she got cancer and he divorced her. It's horrible. It's horrible. But the one thing that I did, the one decent thing I pulled from that is that this was a man who at least identified what he's not able to handle. He's jacked up. It was jacked up. I'm not saying it wasn't messed up. It was messed up.
Yeah.
But
you make a good point.
But he identified that. He knows, like, I know what I can handle and I know what I can't handle. So if I in my vetting process, as you say, if there's something that I can't handle, I'm not going to deal with it. But now I'm gonna throw you a little.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm gonna throw you a little curveball in it, though.
Oh, don't be the curve. I can handle it.
And it's gonna be actually repeat. Papa Soul said this earlier. The difference, though, like he said that if a man is insecure, then we have to be careful who we say that to, because most women can't deal with a man's insecurity. And men, and Denise is seconding this one, is the same kind of point. If a man has baggage, women aren't expected to help us through our baggage. We're supposed to be the man. We're supposed to be emotionally secure at all times. We can't cry. We can't have insecurities. We can't allow our baggage to interfere with the relationship. Otherwise, we're a weak man.
Men can't? Is that what you're saying? Men can't?
That's what society. That's what society. No, the society is saying that men can't have those kinds of feelings. That we can't carry baggage.
It's so funny that you're talking about this. I don't know if you saw it. I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I was just getting into a back and forth about this on a post that I did. And when you have time, I'd like you to weigh in and check it out. But it was about this same exact thing, what you're talking about now.
Mm-hmm. But we can't.
But please finish your statement.
But it's just a truth of, and I've been to a lot of countries, and I've seen this in damn near every country that I've been in, where if you're a man and you got some baggage, you got some insecurity, you have some emotions, that you're looked down upon. But we're also, as men, whatever baggage the woman has, we're supposed to load that shit up on our shoulders, no matter what it is. And we're supposed to carry.
Release your own.
Right. We haven't released our own. And some men just aren't equipped to carry some of the baggage that some women have because it's too much. So for me, the onus is for each individual to go handle their baggage before they get into a relationship. Now, of course, you're going to discover some new things as you are going through a relationship. Like anytime I've been in any relationship that's lasted more than 3-4 months, I discover something new about myself because I'm dealing with a whole person, a whole nother person.
Yeah.
And here's something that I've never had to deal with before. So it's like, okay, this is weird. I identify it, but then maybe I can and maybe I can't carry it because, like, I didn't realize how much it bothered me to have a woman who's unorganized. It bothers the hell out of me because I never experienced it for the majority of my adult life. And then when I did experience it, I was like, oh. And then when I found out why, tried to work with them, but then I knew I have a limit that I'm willing to work with that. I realized that I got about a 1 to 2 month limit that I'm going to work with something like that. So at least now in my life, if I meet somebody, we finna video chat like 3rd or 4th time, and you ain't even gonna know we video chat that time. Because really what I'm doing, I'm trying to take a sneak peek into your house. Because if I see it's all unorganized, or I see I hear that fire alarm chirping all the time, I already know this ain't gonna work. Because I don't have that capacity to deal with that, and I don't want to deal with it. But we are expected to. We are expected to, because when I ended that, those, it's 2 times that happened to me. When I ended those 2 relationships, it was like, well, you didn't give me enough time where you were supposed to do, and you were supposed to, and you was, and you was, and you was. But I'm sitting here like, this is your house. You know, this is something that you had an issue with. This is something that somebody put in your head, or a lifestyle or a culture that you developed. It is not for me to correct it. You know, if you don't want to. You know, yes, I'm supposed to be your leader. I'm supposed to be the head of the household, you know, leading through serving you. But I can't lead through serving you if you're not willing to follow. You know, and if you're holding on to this baggage, and the thing about it, most people who got baggage, they don't want to get rid of it. They've gotten comfortable in that baggage. You know,
it's true. But I wanted to address something that you said, and this is something that I've come to know in my recent years. I think some people are just not a match.
They're not.
They're just not a match, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, sometimes, to be honest, sometimes I do question if I'm really a match for my own husband. But we have a very loving and respectful relationship, and we care for each other and we take care of each other. We're best friends, but there are times when I question if we're actually a match. So what I'm getting at by saying that is that people don't have to be perfect when they get into relationship with each other. They just have to be willing to learn from each other and to change things and to actually mold the kind of life, create the kind of life that they want together. And sometimes what happens is people don't even realize they're pushing their way, but totally don't care about your way. And they don't have the patience to help you figure it out or look at themselves as a blessing into your life to introduce you to something that you didn't know before, to teach you something that you didn't know before. You know, for instance, in the organization thing, you have a lot of good people, men and women, who can do other things and have a lot to offer, but they didn't always have someone to show them this or that. And so when you come into their lives, if you have the patience for it, you can teach them things and you can talk to them in a way that makes them want to do it, make them want to be like you.
Right.
I think myself about some of my shortcomings. One would be organization. One would be organization in terms of just having too much. You know, I have a household that has 5 adults in it, and it's just too much stuff, just way too much stuff, and we need to get rid of some of that stuff, and that's part of the problem. You got stuff everywhere.
Get rid of some of them adults.
Huh?
Say get rid of some of them adults.
Well, yeah, you know, but you know, it's my, you know, children and stuff like that.
No, I understand.
But yeah, so you have all this stuff and not having the space to really put it on. So if I were to be, if I was a person who wanted help with that, or met a man and he was like, you know, in the service and used to having everything in a certain order and all that kind of stuff, and he did not like the clutter, and I loved him and I wanted to be, you know, have things in order, I would welcome him teaching me and leading me and showing me, you know, helping me get it together. Or if I have a business idea and I'm an artist and I'm creative, but I don't know the business aspect and you do, this would be an opportunity for you to teach me and show me. If I don't know how to cook and you do, and I want to learn, then you could show me this or that, or vice versa. People don't have patience for the process of creating what they want with individuals sometimes.
Let me tell you something, Charlie. This goes back to something you said earlier, and it's also going to go to what Denise just text said. You know, Denise said that women are supposed to make men's life easier. You said earlier that men in America can find these women in America. You are an anomaly. Denise is more than likely, and based on what I've seen her text over this time frame, is an anomaly. It is not easy to find that type of woman in America, right? Since I got divorced in 2008, the most difficult thing I've had in my life is to have a woman who makes my life easier, and a woman who understands that we are to be a benefit to each other and that we're not in competition with each other. I've even went as far as to say, okay, I'm over here at the cigar lounge. Help me run my popcorn shop so that we both can grow, right?
Right.
But then when I give instructions for how to run the popcorn shop, nope, they want to do it their way. Okay, I've had this company for 10 years.
Right.
There are certain things I know that work, and right. There's not I don't have a problem with new ideas. Sure. But these are the ideas that I haven't been able to these are the things I haven't been able to do consistently that I know that increases money, right? Increases customers. Do these first, get these on board, and then we can do your ideas. No, I don't want to do that. I'll tell you what, you just run it yourself because you don't want to listen. And that ain't the first one. It's not the first one. There's been others that they weren't even involved to that level, but hey, let me come. You need to do this and you need to do that. A lot of people don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. They don't want to learn. And then they make your life more difficult. And that's hence why brothers go overseas, because I'm not looking for somebody to make my life more difficult. I need to make my life easier.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you think that is? Because obviously this is a cultural thing. This is not an inherent issue for women. Like, you just come into the world and you're like this. What do you think is happening that a lot of women are operating in that kind of, behavior?
In that masculine energy?
What do you think is happening?
Because that's how America breeds women to be. America breeds.
Do you think that's just Black women, or do you think that's women in general?
I think that it is the overwhelming majority of Black and Spanish women. Spanish women are starting to adopt this behavior as well. You still don't have it as much with Asians, nor Asians, Indians, they're Asian as well, or white women.
With them all being in America, this is what I'm getting at. With them all being in America, all of these women being in America, all these different nationalities, why do you think this kind of behavior is prevalent in the Spanish and Black community? Because
those women, especially Black women, we've been like I was saying earlier, how Black women were tricked into the women's lib movement with white women. The government has intentionally separated the Black house. And then when Reagan came out with his quota laws, it was easier to promote a Black woman over a Black man because she satisfied two criteria. So Black women went on a rise from the 80s into the 90s that Black men didn't get the same type of rise. So money became the driving force, and who made the money determined who was going to, run things around here, basically. And not to say that in a negative way, like, sit down, shut up, that kind of thing. But that developed over these years, and then with the single parent household growing, even though that statistic is way off, Black men participate in their families, in their children's lives more than any other race of man. The Black American man does. So that statistic of Black fathers aren't involved is a bunch of BS. But
I believe that.
We still have a lot more single households, and the narrative that's put out there is, and what we see on television and videos and music and all that kind of stuff is the Black woman got to be a boss, got to run this, got to run that, and I do my own thing, and I don't need a man, and I don't need a man. And that I don't need a man mentality creates this environment where we're going to have those conflicts, right?
Right.
And because of that, over these generations, we've lost that family, family being the center, you know, and where family is more important than who's doing what and who's running what and who makes how much and who doesn't make as much. We lost like all of that. Well,
yeah.
and so because of that, we have that stigma, we have that issue that creates the situation.
That's right. That's right. I'm so glad you broke it down and you said that, because that does matter. The main thing I think it is that it is social engineering. You create through the music and the TV these narratives and ideas and stuff, and then the young impressionable minds who don't have someone to steer them in the right direction and get them to thinking and talking right, they will end up taking on these characteristics that they hear in the music and the TV. Our minds are very, are sponges. And it has been proven in scientific experiments that we follow, people in general follow the crowd. You can see with your own mind, I think you call it cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
You can see with your own mind that something should be something that makes logical sense is a certain way, but you'll end up doing what the crowd does, or what you want to believe, because of your training, because of your conditioning, because of the social engineering. You totally negate that which you know makes more sense to do what everyone else is doing, to do what is popular. And so a lot of this happens in the young mind. You know, older people like myself, you know, I come from an era where, you know, women were taught to do what it is you're talking about. And then I just naturally had that desire to serve people and to help them. So a lot of it, to be honest, was just a part of who I am. And that's how I raised my girl. And that's how I raised my son. You know, I want them both to be people who care about the feelings of other people. And when they get into a relationship, they're not looking to be served. They're not looking for somebody to do for them. I want her to have an independent spirit, but not one that says, I don't need a man. So that's not what she's on. She's not on that dumb crap. She is a person who realizes that it is best to know how to take care of yourself. That's what it's about.
Right.
There's no guarantee you're going to have a man. There's no guarantee you're going to have a woman to take care of you and wash your clothes and cook your food. There's no guarantee that you're going to have somebody to provide you a house and a car. You need to be able to take care of yourself. If someone comes along and can lighten the load in any area, emotional, financial, or whatever it is you need, that's awesome. And you become a partnership and you live in harmony, that's great. But I'm going to teach mine how to be self-sufficient in all areas.
Right. And that's how it should be. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I've been interrupting you too. But yeah. And so back to the social engineering and stuff. So you have a lot of these young women and men who are both operating in this low vibrational constructed behavior. This is not just a woman thing. You have men also taking on these ideas to the point where they don't even know how to have a conversation. You try to, as a woman who's emotionally intelligent and tries to delve into conversations that get to the root causes of why a man may feel the way he does, or even a girlfriend feels the way they do. I'm able to articulate my feelings, and I have the capacity to listen on a deep level and try to understand what you're saying. A lot of people don't have that ability or patience, and that's what is required when you have people who are constantly, on purpose, by design, having their minds messed with. And that's what's happening. They didn't just come out of the womb with these ideas. They have been, there's so many things that play a part. You have to have a very strong sense of self to not succumb to that stuff.
Right.
So my point is, do we throw the baby out with the bathwater, or do we figure out how to address how people's minds got the way they are, and how do we stop the hurting and the bleeding from people who ain't ready yet? How do we not continue to entertain them until they get the help that they need if we don't have time or patience for it? How do we say, hey, I can see you ain't ready for this out here. You should go home, get some help first, then revisit. How do you address that in a way that's practical? Because they're going to keep mixing out here, and you're going to keep running into them if you don't know how to spot them. Whether you go to Dubai or Chicago, you're going to run into people. It's not, I know it may seem like everybody in one spot got it together. Everybody got something.
Right. So, like, to piggyback on what you were saying, then give the example of how my kids were raised. I say my kids had the unfortunate but fortunate opportunity of growing up in a two-parent household, but then that household being divorced, but then seeing how me and their mother respond and react as single people. And I say unfortunate because it would have been better if they would have grown up and we was both, a nuclear family. That would have been better. But like a gentleman on TikTok is saying, it's a change in the culture. See, the culture is this television culture, this TikTok culture, Facebook, YouTube culture, that they just see this minor speck of what other people's lives are like and think that's the way it's supposed to be. My kids didn't get social media until they were of a certain age. Until they was of a certain age, because I didn't want that type of influence to be in their lives. Now they got to see how me and their mother was as a unit, and they understood how to work together as a husband and wife. But then even when we were separated, they got to see how we both vetted people and dealt with people. Yeah, we restricted them that because we got married at 19. We made sure that they understood you will not get married at 19. Y'all gonna wait. But in telling them that, we did have to teach them how to take care of themselves, because like I got a 27-year-old, a 23, and a 21-year-old. We taught them that how to be self-sufficient, but with the understanding that when you're looking for a mate, it is your self-sufficiency cannot and will not and should not ever define who you are. It is not something that you hold on to once you become married to someone or you're looking to marry someone, that you then begin to depend on each other. You become a dependent, both male and female. My son just left for the Air Force a couple of weeks back, and I told him, I said, look, man, you're gonna get to these little podunk base. You're gonna have Mary Sue over there who got pregnant. Mary Sue, she got pregnant by Jody, a few years back. She got little Larry and little Madeline. She looking for Larry Madeline. She looking for your green card. She looking for that military ID because she know that's a meal ticket. You got to be mindful. You got to be mindful of that. You're gonna have some of these other military women who they looking at checks. They got to be mindful of that because they don't like the military. They want to get pregnant by you, marry you, then they want to get out and they want you to stay in. So I gave them like all these different warnings of what people try to do to take advantage of you. So you got to be diligent and take care of yourself. I tell my daughters, I tell them, stop looking for a man that's like your father. It's hard. They don't make them like me. Right? They don't make them like me. I'm amazing. I get it. But I do. I told them, I said, I'm glad that you look for men that are like your father, but only look for men that have the best qualities of your father. I lack in areas. You need to understand those areas. So I was, unlike how a lot of people grow up, I was completely transparent with my children of the things that were good about me and the things that were negative about me, so that they can have an idea of what to look for, what not to look for. But I instructed my girls, you don't lay down with a man that you don't think that you would want to raise children with. You don't lay down with a man who doesn't understand that you may go through all kind of craziness when you have a baby, and he may have to take on the complete financial load, And if he's not equipped to do that nor ready to do that, that's not somebody you deal with. You don't deal with a man who is selfish unto him own self completely. Everybody has a little selfishness to them. But, so what I was doing and what their mother was doing was to give them a different cultural perspective than what the American norm of a perspective is. And that's the thing, is that people who have babies, who have kids, they're not thinking down the road of how everything affects their children and how they should grow up and be, and really train them to become productive adults who can have a relationship that's not based on money. It's not based on just physical appearance. That's just not based on what you do for me and what you don't do for me, but it's truly based on how much you have sacrificial love for me. Because if you are in love with somebody, you're gonna have to sacrifice some things. And I tell all my kids that independence, you're gonna have to sacrifice that independence. That thing of you can do your own thing, I don't need you, I can do everything by myself. No, you're gonna have to sacrifice that. You want partnership, companionship, you're gonna have to sacrifice that.
Why do you think some women say that? Because that seems to be a narrative that's pushed, that women are saying that. Why do you think they say that?
That they don't need a man? Because that's what their mama told them. That's what the televisions and radio and all this stuff tells them. They tell them that the only thing they needed a man for was for, if a man can't provide them the finances, they don't need a man. Oh, I got my own finances, I don't need a man.
I have another perspective if you want to hear.
Sure.
Are you done talking first? Making your point?
Well, the only other thing is, it used to be you only needed a man just to have a baby, but now they can go do that by themselves as well. But that's what they've been taught, and that's what they've seen. And because more Black people come out of impoverished situations, the government became their mother and their grandmother's man. And then the job, for the ones who make it out, the job becomes their man. So they can travel, they can buy whatever they want to buy. And so finances have become their man. So they don't necessarily care anymore, and they'll just say whatever they want to, so that's how I don't need a man, because they can get all the trappings of America, the house, the car, the travel, the clothes. They can all go get that without a man. And it validates what their mothers told them.
Right. I heard a man say that once too. I'm good, he's like, I don't need a woman, I'm good. And that's not the narrative, that's not what's pushed all the time. But him saying that, and women saying that, it gave me a perspective, and I'd like to share. The perspective is this. Men and women are struggling out here when it comes to finding love, when it comes to finding that one person that is the yin to their yang, that completes them. And a lot of them are angry about it. They're frustrated about it. And they're trying to prove to themselves that I don't need it. It's okay. I can make it by myself. And a lot of what they're saying is really out of frustration because it's not happening. And so they're trying to convince themselves that you don't need them. Because think about this. Why would you even need to say something like that? I mean, if you don't need a man or you don't want a woman, okay, fine. Why verbalize that? Why say that publicly?
Oh, I agree.
You're angry. You're angry.
Mm-hmm.
You're upset. You want the world to know, I don't need, and think about the stank they put on it too. It's not them just saying like, well, I'm an independent woman and I have been taught to be a hustler, and if it doesn't happen for me, I'll do okay if it doesn't happen. I like a man, but if it doesn't happen, I'm okay. How come you don't hear that energy? You don't hear women talking like that.
No.
Right? They got that stank on it because they're frustrated. they're mad because it ain't happening. So what they're trying to tell the world is like, oh, don't feel sorry for me because I ain't got no man. I'm doing fine. I can do for myself. I don't need a man. That's the energy. It's hurt. It's not that they actually feel that they don't need to have a man in their lives or don't want a man in their lives. They want a man in their lives. But what they're having to mentally convince themselves of is that you're not going to die if you don't have one. You can make it. It is not going to be the end of the world. That's quite different from this idea that men are expendable and they're not needed. That narrative is being pushed by the media because, again, they want to keep us divided. And women and men who don't have a mind of their own, they're not critical thinkers, they don't know the trap. They're going out here. You do it in all kinds of ways. People do it in all kinds of ways. I don't need a man. I don't need a woman. I don't have to have a fancy house. If you say it like this, I don't have to have no big fancy house and stuff, all them bills and stuff like that. That ain't even necessary. It don't even take all that. If you say it like that, that means typically that that's something you want, but you don't see how you can get it. And maybe you're jealous that someone else has it. That's not really, I don't want one.
Right.
It's more like, I'm trying to cover my hurt. I'm trying to show the world like I'm not bothered, either way. I got me. I don't care. That's when they say things like I'm a boss bitch, and a man can't do nothing for me. Why do you think they would say that? Who says that?
No, I
even
agree.
On a very basic level, if you like to have sex, they or a child, they provide a service. They have some value, even if it's in that area.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are a real feminine woman and you like the male energy, oh, you want a man. I don't care who says, oh, I don't need, or don't believe that. That's her talking.
Yeah, I do agree with you that is hurt talking. And I hear that a lot from women, who do have, and they put that stank on it because they are hurt. And or they've given up on the possibility of, they've gotten older. They've given up on the possibility of getting a man of their desire. And so they hurt, and, and they need some help. They need to go through the process of really identifying the hurt that they've been throughout their life so that they can regain themselves and be set up properly to have a good man. But on that note,
heard a man say that? Have you ever heard a man say that they don't need a woman?
I've heard it, but it wasn't in a more serious thing. I heard it in response to women saying that they don't need a man. I heard it in response of, if truth, it's like a woman may say that, and then it's like, if truth be told, we the ones who should be saying that, because shit, we get somebody clean, we can hire a maid, we can do this, we can do that. And then we can get sex, especially here in Atlanta. A black man that's making any.
That's an excellent point. And you know what? Men don't necessarily verbalize it as often, but they say that in their actions, and that's why a lot of times they don't commit in a relationship. I know friends who have a kind of relationship with a guy where they basically provide maintenance for each other, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
friends with benefits.
Right. And this one guy, he just keeps starting arguments with this woman and constantly, just keeping that friction going just enough where they're never on that road to having a committed relationship. And without going in all the details, this is what I told her I saw happening. I said, I think what's happening here is he's decided he does not want to be in a committed relationship. He just wants sex, and he wants you to go home. He's used to being alone. He's used to doing things, in a way where he can move and come and go as he pleases and have his space to himself. He doesn't have to share a space with a woman. And I think that kind of man is typically saying that he doesn't really like the female personality or energy. He just likes to screw them.
Yeah.
And so therefore he's not really interested in her feelings and, you know, what she wants and how she likes this or that. He just wants somebody to sleep with. So she is really into him though, very attracted to him, likes, you know, their intimacy and all that kind of stuff, and loves the fact that he is an entrepreneur and takes care of his home and stuff, and she, being a woman who has a career of her own, she is looking at it how they can get together and build an empire together and be a real power couple. And she's a real solid sister, really, really cool person, beautiful and all of that kind of stuff. But he is not interested. He just wants to maintain that. It was hard for her to hear that, but I was just letting her know this history, this has been going on for a long time. By now, he should know what he wanted, whether or not you're going to, you know, fulfill that for him. And
right.
If he's not interested, that's a hint that he has no intention on making you his woman. You're just going to be somebody he has fun with and sends on her way.
Yep.
And so yeah, he may not say, I don't need no damn woman. I can do fine by myself and shoot them. These hoes are dime a dozen. He may not say it, but he feels the same way.
Oh, he certainly does. Now,
this population, I'm just talking about these people, not everybody.
No, I'm with you. Yes, just those people. I mean, I can identify a situation that similar to that happened here in the lounge where a woman was telling a similar story. But it's after 12. I got to go open up the other business, and somebody's sitting over there in the corner because he can't get to his seat. Although he could just walk around. It's not like I care if he walked around. But so to sum everything up, you know, the last little thing about it, I think that both men and women do want to have relationships. They do want to have that person. The difficulty is that what men are wanting and what in America, what I'm seeing is that what a lot of men are wanting and what a lot of women are giving is not matching up. Kind of like that couple that you were describing. They're just not matching up correctly. And, you know, like Denise said, men tend to want women who's going to make their life easier, not make their life more difficult, who's going to be a benefit to their life. And we need to realize that benefit works hand in hand, you know, to work together. And if that,
thank you for saying that.
Yeah. And if that was going on, then we would have a lot less passport bros, because then they would they'd be able to find that woman in America. She is very rare. So, you know, the struggle is real. But in order for us to change that dynamic, we have to change like my man on TikTok said, we got to change the culture that men and women are growing up in this country if we want to see that. And this is probably sounds a little sexist, but the onus on that is actually how the young ladies are trained by their mothers and fathers. That's who has to do it. It has to be the training of the young mothers. The young girls have to be trained differently in America to not see all the material, but to see the true value of a relationship if that's what they truly want. And of course, these young boys have to be trained to be able to identify that and to be a kind of man
and they
that
also have to be trained how to act as well. This is an infiltration on young men and women. They're both suffering and weak in these areas, and they both sides have equal issues and problems. And when you are a decent man and a decent woman, you're obviously going to be focused on your gender and how you move and are affected by these things. But for us, I think what we should do is separate ourselves if we feel we're quality people. I have the receipts. You know, I can go on a long list of what I do and have witnesses. So that's one of the things I like to do is not, you know, because, you know, a lot of people, they'll come out and they'll say, oh, I'm this and I'm that and all that kind of, they have absolutely no receipts. I got my receipts.
Right.
So if you feel you are a quality person, The objective is now for you to be able to discern what is not quality and immediately remove yourself. Don't allow that ass to talk to you. Don't allow that face to mesmerize you. You have to be willing to say, you're a beauty, but you are, damaged goods, and move on with your life. If you're not willing to delve in and help, and vice versa with a woman. We all like a handsome face. We all like that masculine vibe. But if I can see that you're broken and that you have some tendencies that are narcissistic and controlling and hurt, then I can't keep talking about how cute you are. I have to say, hey, he needs some help first.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying, is that everybody needs a little work and a little help.
Yeah, everybody needs some work and some help. But we're going to end that right there. Now, today is Friday, but we're going to do this relationship show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. So today was an anomaly. It's going to be Wednesday at 10 a.m. We're going to do this. So I appreciate Charlie for coming on. If you do want to be on and talk, then right now, just through the Facebook group of The Art of Tantric Love, as well as TikTok, The Art of Tantric Love. I'm still looking for the software that I can do it on YouTube. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Charlie. We down the street. You can come by, get some popcorn, and peek your head in.
Well, send me a message showing me where it is. I'll come by.
All right. So now that we can be friends again.
All right, buddy.
All right. All right. So y'all have a great day. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration. And we are clear.